Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Smackdown review of us, the Dynamic Dudes, us two, the British Fist.
Gotcha.
Who else but Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me with his head in a slightly symmetrical way that I've got it. It's none other than NJ.
What's up?
I just love that what's up gimmick that you have there. Definitely better than anything that WWE has right now. Subscribe above, like this video, comment any thoughts you have on this edition of Smackdown in the comment section.
Where'd you got it? Just in the link description box below.
Oh, a very dramatic pause there, NJ. You're like, pause for breath there. What's he going to do? Is he going to do? Is he going to do? Is he going to botch? Who knows? It's NJ. Who knows what can happen with you? The most unpredictable man in the YWC. But there we go. So this Smackdown review, the Smackdown follow-up from Over the Limit. We opened up with a video package of the Cena and Ace feud and everything that's been happening on it's been pretty much the main angle of the TV show lately.
And main angle of Smackdown.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I guess Johnny Ace is on both shows. So they opened up the show officially with Eve Torres talking about how Johnny Ace beat John Cena and how Johnny Ace isn't going to be there tonight. And what did the crowd do when they found out that Johnny Ace... Yeah. I think that alone shows you how much heat Johnny Ace is getting and why he should have been in the main event Over the Limit. And then we get this whole announcement that Eve is going to be in charge tonight. Sheamus is going to issue an apology for bumping into Ace on Raw, and Eve will later announce Sheamus's opponent at No Way Out. So at least we're getting some direction straight away for the pay-per-view, the main event on SmackDown.
There's two things I want to say about this. Number one, the thing I like about Eve is that she only really appeared at this part of SmackDown. She went continuously in segment after segment after segment. They just kept her with this. She set up this match, nicely done. It got straight to the point and set up what we needed following Raw, the main event for SmackDown at No Way Out,
and their World Championship match, which is essentially their main event, isn't it? And then you get this sequence of events where Del Rio comes out, Orton comes out, and Kane comes out on episode number 666 of SmackDown, and so we get the announcement of a #1 contendership triple threat main event. Match announced. It's pretty standard opener.
I look at this and I say, yes, you've got the main event sorted, but the one thing I look at it, you see Orton. I know we've heard this news about Jericho, blah, 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 but the thing is, Jericho attacked Orton, and instead of Orton thinking, right, I'm going to cut a promo on Jericho, so I'm going to kick his ass and how brutal I am, like, you know what Orton says. Instead of going through that, he went through the whole, I'm going to forget about the Jericho thing right now, and look at the titles. In a way, I'm a bit thinking Orton was a bit like, not really needed here, but then again, he is, or was, SmackDown's top wrestler, so he's going to be used in this match.
Yeah, and he was the only face really in this match, so you had to include him in there somehow, I think. I know what you're saying. It's just that, you know, if you were a guy in the company, realistically, would you want to go after the World Heavyweight Championship, or would you rather go after someone that's just attacked you? I'll just ask you that. Would you rather gold or feud? I don't know.
It's just like you completely forgot about what happened on Raw, and now you just concentrate on something different. I know they had to in the WWE, because obviously Jericho's blah, 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 mess up. But the thing is, it's just, it threw me a little bit, but at the same time, it does set up a storyline. Yeah,
I mean, it does seem like with the whole Jericho suspension thing, they're probably not going to do Orton versus Jericho anymore, so they may just shove him into the main event title match. Who really knows what they're going to do with him? We'll find out next week, I guess. After that opener, we get Christian versus Hunico in another let's make Christian make his return and face someone who really isn't credible that much. It's the first time on SmackDown that Christian has appeared for, what, 8 months now since he got that ankle injury, sometime last year. And he got a nice pop as well, which you need, when you've established Christian as a face, you need him to get a good pop and on his 8-month return.
As much as we could bash Hunico, the thing about this, the reason why Christian probably went into the mid-card is because they haven't really got enough people who are credible to be intercontinental worthy opponents.
On the face side, yeah.
Yeah, so for Christian versus Hunico, there weren't really much other possibilities that they could have had Christian go up against. Not really. You think, oh, this would be a great match. So at the minute, I don't mind who he faces, as long as eventually, when it comes towards the bigger pay-per-views, someone steps up.
Such as Cody Rhodes, for example.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying in the sense that Christian is the most credible babyface. I really think this shows you how sort of bland the mid-card is right now in WWE. I mean, they have, Hunico and Jinder Mahal face Christian on his returning 2 matches. But, none of that was really that important because you had Rhodes coming out, my favourite, just as I think he's taking some time off, and I see him on SmackDown after not reading the spoilers. Oh, I was a happy bunny. He comes out talking about he was trying to restore the prestige of the belt and how one night Christian ruined it and how no one cares about Christian. based on that massive pop he got at the beginning of the match. So yeah.
That is a good thing with Cody Rhodes on the mic. He actually warmed up this rematch, said how he's going to get it back and make it important again because Christian's ruined it, and how Christian is not something they want to see the belt on. In a way, it's warmed the rematch up, so I like how Cody Rhodes set this up.
Yeah, it's pretty much warmed that rematch at No Way Out, and I look forward to seeing these two feud. Hopefully they'll give them some mic work and actually build a story, a mid-card storyline between these two. I hope they do. In the next segment, we had tag team action. The Usos versus O'Neal and Darren Young. And I must admit, I did rather enjoy that little backstage segment, the little confrontation, like, you know what's that dance you do? $1 million, whatever the fuck. That was some pretty funny stuff backstage.
In a way, instead of just having this random match, they did have that little short video package to show why these two are basing each other. And they make kind of each other's dance moves and that. So it does set the match up, so I give it credit for that. Even though this match weren't the greatest, not really. But at the same time, you'd expect more from them maybe because they're the only limited tag teams in the WWE. But I just didn't find this match overly exciting.
Yeah, I'll just say this. Last week they had them job to the tag champs in 3 minutes, and now the push is back on, it seems. I just wonder, though, WWE, why not make these two feud and maybe have it for the #1 contendership or something like that? I don't know. Why don't you just give these guys a little bit more to go on rather than just going out there and having a match? I'd love to see them book a tag team feud of some kind and give it some kind of story.
A feud would be good. There's not much feuds they can actually make from this. So in my opinion, at this moment in time, the tag team division is still pretty much dead, but I do like the fact that we are getting interesting tag matches coming along in the future.
And we've got a new tag team in, O'Neal and Young, who could be a pretty decent heel tag team for the WWE. I think they're being groomed to be the next champions personally, but who really knows? At least they got the same gear and they got some kind of gimmick to go, which is slightly entertaining. But there we go. Sin Cara's going to be back next week.
6-1 now!
Yeah. To be honest, I'm quite looking forward to Sin Cara coming back just because WWE need credible faces, and in my opinion, Sin Cara, based off reaction and the effort they put behind him, is one of those guys. So they do need guys like Sin Cara to come back. What will he do? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to his return.
Two things about Sin Cara. Number one, he's had time out, so maybe he'll come back. Still Sin Cara, but hopefully in a way better than what he was. Yeah. And the second thing is, we talked about this before, SmackDown needs their returns back to fill up gaps, make up feuds, and just warm up SmackDown again. Sin Cara, we'll just have to give him a chance for when he returns next week, and hopefully he's better than what he was and can actually start moving a career forward.
Yep, no, I hope they do. I hope they set out some sort of feud for him, because they do need like a fourth sort of layered feud on SmackDown. Back when SmackDown was good, they had 4 feuds on the show and they were all multi-layered. You had Sin Cara, Sheamus, Orton, Big Show, Mark Henry. That was when SmackDown was good. I hope they get back to that formula. In the next segment, we had Ryback versus what I like to call TLJ, Two Local Jobbers. How about that for a tag team name? You give your thoughts on this, and I'll chime in with my thoughts.
Okay, people. Again, Ryback, as I said, we need to take him seriously when he faces WWE wrestlers, WWE jobbers, WWE wrestlers that should not be jobbers, all that kind of stuff. And we started to get that. Then all of a sudden, he faces 2 local wrestlers again. It's like he's taking a step backwards instead of taking a step forwards, which it looked like he was probably doing. And I just think that's a bit of a shame, because I was hopefully seeing a direction eventually progressing with Ryback, and now he's having to take a step back again.
Yeah, but at least they were both in the ring with him at the same time this time, rather than a tag match. But I'll say this. I think with the Ryback character, I'm trying not to focus too much on the fact that he's always in squash matches. I'm trying to focus on how the WWE are presenting him, because that is going to be essentially what gets him over. That's essentially how they're going to try and make him look like a big deal. Now, before the match actually came around, we had a thing like Ryback in action next after the break, and it's little things like that, like the pyro, the black eye, it's little things like that to show him that he's been in the fight that are actually, really important at getting this guy over. And the double version of his finisher was really good. I really thought that got him over as a real big star.
What I'll say is that, yes, I attacked him backstage. I was just like, get into proper feuds, jackass! Yeah, and I took him out quite easily because he only faces local wrestlers. Yeah, thanks for that, Ryback. And also, the thing he did in the ring, had them both in the ring at the same time. I did like that. The double finisher, very nicely done. I just want him to get out this local wrestler stuff so I can take him more seriously again. but overall, this match did justice for Ryback.
And they even replayed it later on in the show, didn't they? Saying, remember this moment. And it's little things like that are really important that WWE do need to concentrate on. In future, they will need to get him in some kind of feud, though, really, if they're going to develop it even further. But keep the undefeated streak going, keep mentioning it too. Santino versus Ricardo Rodriguez was next. I have no idea why they've done this, but I must admit, guys, despite the fact that I hated this, it was so funny. I love the Ricardo Rodriguez character. He's so entertaining to me. He's like this fumbling idiot who is so likable. You remember that reaction he got at Royal Rumble? Oh, just going off that. More reaction than Del Rio ever got.
He did get a big positive cheer when he came back then, but this reaction on SmackDown was more of a heel thing. He got a bit booed. Candy. And thing like this, the video package showing Raw, oh, you got scared of Cobra. It's not even real. And then the match itself, it was interesting, but it was all focused more on Santino. What Rodriguez did his stumbling stuff and, bouncing from rope to rope. So it's entertaining that way, but it was all about Santino getting the win and crowd liking and all this.
I'll say this, as much as it was an entertaining match, is this the best you have for your US champion WWE? I'm just putting it out there. Let's move on to the next segment. We have this whole will Sheamus apologise thing. Will he apologise for bumping into Johnny Ace on Raw? And he comes out saying, it was an accident. I didn't mean to bump into the guy, And he's basically apologises for Johnny Ace being a massive arse. That was funny shit.
There's two things I'm going to say here. Number one, this whole apology thing that John Allen is trying to make these wrestlers do is really boring. The fine stuff, in my opinion, about it was boring. So all this stuff that Lana is trying to make these wrestlers do is boring. And the thing about this is that when Sheamus was started talking, eventually called him an arse, I eventually thought, there's going to be a swerve. There's going to be more to this. Like we saw at the Big Show. He didn't just stop with the apology. He went more and more and more. So I expect maybe at No Way Out or between now and No Way Out, there's going to be more Laurinaitis and Sheamus, more swerves and screwing Sheamus. So I give it that. It's giving Laurinaitis involved with other big wrestlers, giving them some kind of push and stuff. But again, I just didn't really like this. Not much.
I'll say this, if you're going to have Johnny Ace get involved with Sheamus, at least that's a great way to get face heat for Sheamus, especially if his reactions are going to dwindle. Who really knows? Because some people have said that they're not really that interested in his title reign. But the segment itself, I don't see... Was this the best, seriously the best thing they had for the World Heavyweight Champion just after he's defended his championship against 3 other guys? And, then we had the whole thing with Vicky Guerrero coming out saying that Sheamus is going to face Jack Swagger because, Swagger has been so uncredible for so long. I'm supposed to sit there and believe that Jack Swagger is going to give Sheamus a competitive match.
Well, he had a competitive match against somewhat of a competitive match against Orton. So this match it was somewhat close. Swagger got a close fall in the match. So I think it's okay, but not the best thing for Sheamus in the main event, trying to get himself a big name and all stuff like that. So in a way, it was okay, but not the best for Sheamus.
There's a lot of talking on this show, wasn't there? The opener was talking. We had a lot of talking here. Big Show talking was there was a lot of talking on the show. I'll just say that not too much wrestling on this show. In the next segment, we had one of my personal favourites in FCW, Damien Sandow versus Yoshitatsu. And again, NJ, chime in with your thoughts on this segment.
Okay, so we had Pink Pants coming down to the ring, and the thing about this, the thing I want to say is that one minute he's saying like, "Oh, I'm not worthy to face you. I'm not going to face you. I'm not facing for all of you fans." Then he eventually, just because of the whole chicken thing, he actually gives him his match. It's like, all this, you trying to find the right wrestler to face you, you've actually wasted that now, and your first opponent, instead of building yourself up to someone better by saying, I'm not facing you, I'm not facing you, I'm not facing you, doing more heel stuff like that, you give in and you face Yoshi. Yes, Yoshi's got a match on SmackDown, which was a good thing for him, but I just think maybe she kept on saving it for a bigger and better opponent than put on a great match there.
Yeah, I mean, I do see what you're talking about, but didn't you say that you really just wanted to see him in a match? Like
I did, but at the same time, every promo he cut was like, I'm not facing you, you're not worthy, you're not worthy. So I would have got maybe kept that going, then finally faced someone bigger and better than Yoshi.
Well, I must admit, I do love this Damien Sandow character. They are presenting him very well. His mic skills are very refined. He squashed Yoshitatsu in about 45 seconds. Just nice to see him at least wrestling in the ring. And I must admit, I do hope they continue to develop this Damien Sandow character. Maybe even eventually put him in some kind of feud. He's had like a little mini feud with Yoshitatsu, which isn't the best, but I mean, you've got to introduce him some way. Next segment?
Yeah.
Big Show speaks in the next segment. I mean, you got to look at this in a sense that on Raw, Big Show talking and the whole firing segment did bring in 1 million viewers. Now, also, you got to look at the fact that this is one of those things that you've got a storyline on Raw, which is a main event storyline. You can use Big Show to transfer it to SmackDown and use SmackDown to continue this feud and keep, and in this segment they had him coming out and explaining why he turned heel, talking about how no one came to his defense after his firing. You get the whole "you sold out" chance, and he made a deal with Johnny Ace with a big fat bonus to help him win the match, and he does not care about the fans anymore. So better explanation than Raw, I will just say that.
I'll give him that. It was a good explanation, but the segment was still boring. Maybe not as boring as the whole him crying in the ring, blah blah blah. But this, I was about to get my violin out. Oh, Big Show, yeah. But I just thought this was another boring segment. Big Show, yes, he's a heel. I like him as a heel, but I didn't really feel the bam, he's a heel Big Show here. So overall, I didn't like it again.
We'll move on to the main event.
Main event.
Before we got to the main event, we had Kane coming out, and all of a sudden, we had Daniel Bryan attacking him with a chair. I don't really have any idea why they're having the heel Daniel Bryan interacting with the heel Kane. I'm really not sure what this is supposed to do. I know that Kane has been involved with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, but maybe I'm really not sure why they're going there with Kane and Bryan, to be honest.
Hopefully no feud will come out and Kane goes back to a face, or maybe when Bryan becomes a face, whatever way they do it. At this moment in time, they're following on from Kane laying out Bryan, kicking his ass. But then this, I guess it's trying to get his payback. It did warm up the match and did help the match to get its result, but it's just maybe not the best thing to see between two heels at the time. Especially
when you're just going into a number one contendership match and Kane actually wrestles in it and doesn't really do a fantastic job of selling the fact that he's just had a massive beatdown. I think this should have been an opportunity to take Kane out of the match and just have a singles match between Orton and Del Rio. That's just my thoughts on this one. The main event match, of course, as we know, Kane versus Orton versus Del Rio in a number one contendership match to see who was going to face Sheamus at No Way Out. I think we kind of knew who was going to win this one, really, based on the fact that Orton kind of had that feud with Jericho, even though they're probably not going to go there anymore. Kane got beat down. It left only really one option, and that was Del Rio. Pretty much got the cheap pin on Kane after the RKO to become the new number one contender.
Yeah, they had the Bryan interference distracting Kane, so I'm thinking Kane could have maybe picked the win, and I wouldn't mind that, because obviously it's a good thing for Kane to get back into some kind of run again. Orton, obviously, we don't know what's happening with him now. Del Rio winning, I think they missed their chance. They teased it when Del Rio returned with Sheamus. That kind of died, and they're trying to relive it. I personally just want it to be a one pay-per-view thing, because I don't think it's that interesting. Del Rio doesn't really deserve this, even if he did win this number one contendership, which I really like. But overall, okay, maybe not the winner I would have gone with.
I mean, to be honest with you, NJ, I don't mind Del Rio being the number one contender. It's just that based on his booking previously, WWE are never going to put any heat on the guy. They're only going to make Sheamus look strong in there, which is so pointless going into pay-per-view. And based on his booking and the way WWE have booked him in the sense that he was in a singles match, then in a fatal four-way, now he's getting this singles match, kind of out of nowhere, really, if you think about it. Based on his booking, do I have any confidence that he's going to be even a semi-legit contender to Sheamus? I really don't think so, and I think that WWE have really missed a chance with Del Rio. They're not putting any heat on the guy, really. Especially at the end of the segment, where Sheamus comes out and hits him from behind, and you're thinking, man, Sheamus, have you reverted back to your heel ways?
He did feel that way, and now it just left us thinking, with Jericho gone, with Kane not in a feud, with Orton not in a feud, will they get this little match, just a filler match, nothing a feud again, just a match, just so they have something going for them at No Way Out. Just because they're flying around doing nothing now, they've lost this number one contendership.
Yeah, and, SmackDown this week, NJ, you want to give your thoughts?
I really did not feel much from it. Yes, it gave us the World Heavyweight title match at pay-per-view, a hint of Cody, Rhodes and Christian, but other than that, they really didn't have any proper idea going to the show.
No, I mean they've got a main event, I guess you could say, Sheamus versus Del Rio. You've got guys like you've got Orton floating around doing not much now to the whole Jericho thing. Christian versus Cody Rhodes could be an interesting feud. Don't get me wrong, there were some good segments on this show, but SmackDown is really lacking a lot. And I do like the new superstars coming in. I wish WWE would maybe put them in some kind of feud. Maybe then you could give the show multi-layers, get a tag team feud in there as well. There are so many missed opportunities there on SmackDown, in my opinion, to show good tag team wrestling, showcase the new talent in feuds and stuff like that. They're missing so much that they could do different to Raw, in my opinion, SmackDown. And Del Rio versus Sheamus, it's not the best main event based on the fact that Del Rio's booking lately has just been shit. and you don't believe for 1 second that he is ever going to win. Christian versus Cody Rhodes should be a pretty good feud, in my opinion. Who knows what they're going to do with Randy Orton now, or Kane, or because Orton is the other guy that's going to want the feud on SmackDown, isn't it? Really,
pretty much.
Yeah. So not the best show for you then. No, it's just a shake of the head. Fair enough. I'm not even going to grade it either. Give us your thoughts, of course, down in that comment section below. This review has gone on way too long. But there we go.
And for Mr. Parkin and me and Jay, thank you very much for watching this review. Until next time, YouTubers, goodbye.